Today we're going to plant 4 of 10 apple trees. Why we're not going to plant the other 6? Because they're not here yet. This is what we're going to use. Jason has got me manure, and this is mycorrhizal fungi. I was waiting on the internet to get this delivered. It arrived today. So we'll go up here and I'll explain what this does while we're working. Now this stuff isn't fresh. I was hoping for rotted manure, but it is what it is. What do you do? Keep her lit, boss. It will eventually rot down. This spot here is by far the wettest spot in all of the ground. This was the reason whenever Trevor was here, I was going to put a drain in here. Now, because it's so wet, Trevor says all we're going to do is make a muck. So if there's no rush, it's better to wait till summer to do that. I have opened that up a bit to allow some of the water out. There's still about 6 or 8 inches of water. We'll call it a test. Let's see, does the tree grow in a puddle? It's not going to be a puddle. Whenever we fill it in, it's always going to be wet out here anyway. It's going to be, because the soil has been broken, it's going to be waterlogged. We're going to put a bit of manure in. Fresh, not rotten, of course. Why? Because this is all we have. We'll stick a bit in, keeping the local soil. And then make it into the slurry. This isn't the right way to plant apple trees, but it's the only way I'm going to do it today. As we go up here, the trees will get better. If you bear with me, you'll see. These are 4 apple trees, and the variety is Beauty of Bath. I was told in the garden centre that I bought them that they're a good variety. Nice red apples. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the puddle, taking full advantage of the situation to wet the roots. If you're in a wooded area and it's been undisturbed, maybe leaves have fallen, pine needles, whatever. If you disturb the surface and start digging, you will see a white, a chalky-like colour. That is what mycorrhizal fungi is. And let me explain what it is. What it does is it actually makes nutrients available to the tree, and it gives them to the tree in exchange for sugars that the tree has created, that has brought down from photosynthesizing from the leaves all the way to the roots. This will be connected to the roots in the ground. I watched a documentary on TV where they use mycorrhizal fungi and they put a dye into the water or whatever around the tree, and they give it a while, and they tested the tree at different points, and the dye had went up the tree, and they also found it in the wider circle in other trees that was nearby, and the only way that it could have got to the trees was via the mycorrhizal fungi. So you could call this Mother Nature's dark web. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. If you don't get it, what I would suggest doing is Google mycorrhizal fungi, because that's how I figured out about it. So we're going to plant these, put the mycorrhizal fungi around it to boost the rooting zone, and then what we're going to do then is cross the fingers and hope for the best. Look, this was the original leader. It's been cut off. I'm only after checking. This is all this year's growth. What's that? 3.5 foot or thereabouts, 4 feet say. Right, let's get this opened up and get it onto the roots. It is worth looking at. Looking at this here is real interesting. It was for me anyway. If you're watching this, it might be for you. So once we get this in the ground, let it sit for a wee bit. I will be pruning these. The guy told me not to prune them this year, but I'm going to. So how do we want the tree to look? Something like that. Ugh, nasty. That is nasty. Waste. Right. I'm going to have to come back to you. That one looks like it's going to need staked. What I didn't say to you too is if you look here, this is where it's been grafted. This is, I think, a 106. So that means it'll grow up to a canopy of 4 meters. And obviously the roots will mirror the canopy, so there'll be something similar. That was one of the things that actually attracted me to this field. The fact that it hasn't been turned over via ploughing, rototilled, machined. It's been undisturbed pretty much. And as a result, the roots have extended out way beyond the about 4 meters before the hedge, beyond the hedge, and continuing to go. That's only where we dug, and it's full of worms. Get a bit of dung in. You can see this one's more straight. I'll be pruning this one back till an outer bud to make it curl that way. These ones here, this is what you want. I'm going with open center, so it's like a vase, you know, cup. That's the plan anyway. That's the ones I've kind of been looking into it already, but I'll need to look into it a bit more, because once you cut them, that's you stuck. You want that graft sitting slightly above the level of the soil. I'm going to put wood chip around that whenever I get some. They shouldn't be far away. So they're going to open out. Now ideally you'd want this to be over a foot or 18 inches or something, but I'm not too sure how to go about that. So if you look at this one here's a good shape. I'll probably remove this and turn this into a sideways shoot, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then they'll all split into multiple ones after that. The bud is the direction that the branch will grow when you prune it, and pruning it shapes it, and pruning it gets you into the shape. When the more lateral you go, then what will extend out from that will be branches that'll fruit. But I'm no expert, we're just winging it here. Yeah, it'll be a miracle if that one grows anyway. But there's one thing for sure, sitting in a bag beside the container, it'll definitely not grow. In there, although the ground is saturated, it'll have a chance, and it will dry up eventually. The idea is to eventually remove all of that overgrown hedgerow. And if you can picture it, the trees are going to grow up in the vase shape towards this hedge, towards the field. They're going to look lovely. What I can envision is removing this hedgerow and having plants across the sheep wire. The plants that will be growing along the sheep wire is going to be berries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, and anything else right up the length of that. So from the sheep wire, we are 3.5 meters back to the trees, with a canopy of 2 to 2.5 meters either side of the tree. So south facing here, all the sun will still hit the raspberries, blueberries, blackberries that grow along the sheep wire, and below that there's a 4 foot of a drop down, or 1.5 meters or thereabouts. Who's counting really? And it's going to be, what I can think, there's going to be pear trees potentially across that, because they're similar to apple trees. Apple trees, raspberries, pear trees. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's them 4 in pretty much. I just need to read up and see how to prune them. That'll be the next challenge. We'll worry about that in another video. Folks, thanks for watching. This is just a wee short one. See you in the field.